February is over just like that, which seems crazy, and now we're on to March, so I'll be doing my February wrap-up, and then my March TBR. February is as good of a month of reading as I have ever had, and it's going to result in a lot of really cool reviews, and I'm excited to go over it here today. So for those of you who have not been keeping up with the channel or you just missed it, I did review the first 3 books that I read in the month of February, which was A Time of Dread, A Time of Blood, and A Time of Courage, which is the Of Blood and Bone trilogy by John Gwynne. I'm a massive John Gwynne fan, and I had a lot of fun reviewing the first entry and then the trilogy as a whole. I really recommend, if you have not read Faithful in the Fallen, to go ahead and check out the full trilogy review. I think if you look at my Time of Dread review, it could spoil some stuff from the prior series, even though it's a non-spoiler review for the current series. But the trilogy review overall, I was really happy with it, and I felt like I did a good job of kind of gathering my thoughts and putting them out in a way where it would not spoil The Faithful and the Fallen, which are the prior 4 books, and it was just a pleasure to read. John Gwynne has, again, topped himself and has just become one of the most consistent authors that I've read, and it was an absolute blast. The 4th book that I finished in February, I don't want to say read because I've been listening to the audiobook for what seems like years, had started it way back in the day, and then finally completed it here after restarting it a couple months ago back in the fall. I've just been doing audio while I work out, and that is Expanse book number 1, Leviathan Wakes. Huge fan of the Expanse show, and I think it's only proper that I ride that wave and then read the books. Obviously, Daniel Abraham's a part of that project, who I'm a massive fan of, and then Ty Franck is also another George R. R. Martin assistant, and I think their writing styles are just excellent. They complement each other very well, and you can look for a review for Leviathan Wakes, Expanse Book 1, sometime probably this week or next. And I also kind of just want to mention, like, sci-fi wise, what I'm doing here on the channel. This is the Fantasy Network, as you know, but I love sci-fi. I always have. I grew up watching like Starship Troopers and Star Trek and things like that. So with sci-fi, I kind of broke my rule because I'm trying to go into a more chronological approach to the genre as a whole. Whereas fantasy, I read a lot of new modern stuff to get me back in, and now I'm dialing back to things from the 80s and 90s in fantasy and kind of getting caught back up. Sci-fi, I'm trying to take a more, like I said, chronological approach, and I read Foundation, Dune is on my list, and then probably something like Hyperion, and I'm trying to kind of move my way through the decade so I can see the influences of the heavy hitters from the past on today's work. With The Expanse, I kind of broke that a little bit, mainly because I'm just really, really into the show, and when a season ends, I just want more of it, and the books are a great opportunity to do that. The audiobook is also fantastic, so it's really easy listening. The writing is very straightforward. Don't feel like I miss a lot by doing just audio. I did read some of it in paper, but for the most part it was audio. So I did kind of break my rule. I know people probably heard me say that in the past of my approach to sci-fi, but I wanted to clarify that I'm still trying to do that, but The Expanse seems to be the exception. And then the last part of February, which has been awesome, has been filled with quite a wonderful experience for me. I did not think I'd get to book 3. I actually didn't even plan to get to book 3 until I received the hardback on March 2nd, I believe, which is here in a few days. But I read the entire Farseer trilogy. I read Assassin's Apprentice, Royal Assassin, and Assassin's Quest. I really wanted to wait for book 3 because I have some other stuff I actually need to read here in the first week of March. I wanted to get a head start, but I could not put that series down after Royal Assassin's ending. Blew my mind. Royal Assassin, and I'm not going to go too much into it because I want to do a full trilogy review and break down each book of what I really liked from each of them, non-spoiler of course. And I might have some people on the channel to talk about Farseer because there's a lot to dig into there, and I am just infatuated with Fitz as a character. If you get it, you get it. I mean, there are going to be people who do not like Fitz and do not like Farseer and the pacing and stuff like that, but for me, it was an absolute home run. I'm not going to say too much more about it. Like I said, I just want to push that off to my trilogy review, and I want to get all of my thoughts out. I've never taken so many notes in a book. I don't take a lot of notes, but I like to kind of remember things that resonated with me and are going to impact my review and things I want to relay to you all. I've never taken more notes on 3 individual books than this. I think each book provides a different experience while still having a really tight-knit narrative, and I'm going to stop now. I'm just going to stop. Just know I really enjoyed it. I do have some criticisms. Not many. Robin Hobb is a huge hit with me, and I am pretty certain I'm going to try to get through all of the Realm of the Elderlings this year. I had really just planned on maybe doing Farseer and then, get to Live Ships Traders at some point in the future, but that's not the case now. all of it's getting moved up on the TBRs right now because it just knocked my socks off. I love Robin Hobb's writing, and I hope that you all will too, and I hope that if you have read it that you'll enjoy my takes, and that is a review that I am super excited to get to. Probably my most anticipated review so far this year. I mean, we've had a good 2021 so far. Tad Williams, Robin Hobb, John Gwynne. These are just, knocking out of the park. First book of the Expanse. I can't complain at anything that I've read this year, and I feel pretty fortunate for that. I feel like my taste is getting more refined, and I'm able to pick out things that I'm going to enjoy. And that results in me being happy and being motivated to read and then bringing you all more content, which is a win-win-win-win-win. So before I get to my March TBR, I did want to just say I had an appearance on a Song of Ice and Fire podcast this month. I got to do a full episode with Sir Ezra as Sir Matt as a host of Bend the Knee was out. So Bend the Knee is the podcast if you haven't listened to it. They've been mentioned in Forbes. I think they were in the New York Times at one point during season 8. Great A Song of Ice and Fire book club, and one of the absolute best communities I've ever been a part of. I absolutely love it. We do Zoom chats. We have a Facebook group that's really strong. And just overall, the show just feels very close-knit and intimate, which sometimes you don't get on a very large podcast. So Sir Matt and Sir Ezra do wonderful stuff over there. I was very happy to be a part of that and be able to do a full episode. And I also appear on their YouTube channel. I'll link that here. If it's not up here, it's going to be down in the comments or the description. So check that out. And I also was able to be featured on their Wheel of Time podcast. Sir Ezra and Sir Matt also do Heroes of the Horn, which I mentioned, I think in my last TBR video, and as an ongoing series right now, I'm doing The Fires of Heaven. But I got to go on there and cover some chapters. I think it was about 7 chapters in Shadow Rising and some of the major implications from the Shadow Rising. And it's a good episode. I think you would like it if you're a Wheel of Time fan, or if you're thinking about checking out the series. Maybe kind of peel back from it because it does have some spoilers. But I did a full episode there. I'll also link the Heroes of the Horn channel below or up here somewhere. But I'm just really, really happy to be doing content with other people, collaborating, and having just awesome discussions with people that I really respect and consider close friends. And speaking of close friends, I did want to give a shout out to my best friend Andrew. He's like a brother to me. He spray painted me this as a late Christmas gift since we didn't see each other for the holidays because of the world situations, right? But he spray painted me a picture of the one true king, Bobby Baratheon. How awesome is this? I had to show this off because it's now probably one of my favorite pieces. It is my favorite piece of art. I have maps everywhere, but this, knowing that he made it for me, and my favorite character being Bobby Baratheon, at least for the memes. Very cool, very cool. And Andrew, thank you so much. Just a knock-up job. I'm telling him to open up an Etsy shop. I'm trying to get him to. We'll see. Would you buy some artwork like this if for your favorite fantasy characters? It doesn't have to be Game of Thrones. Very curious, actually. I'm trying to motivate him to share his artwork because it's tremendous. So what am I reading in March? To say my TBR has been a little bit staggered from the plan. I had actually, for the first time in my life, I felt like I was really mapping out well what I was going to read in a month. But things have kind of been thrown, a wrench has been thrown in my plans, but they're good wrenches, I think. And I'm going to be getting 2 advanced reader copies. I actually have them both already. One is going to be the first book that I'm going to read, which is Ember by Stephen Kelleher. It's Landkiss Saga number 1. It is a self-published book that actually has a series attached to the Landkiss Saga that has multiple entries, but it's been revised and a little bit rewritten and polished, and now it is hitting publisher instead of a self-published book. So that's really cool opportunity. Obviously, there's a lot of merit to it if it's being picked up by a publisher, so I wanted to check it out. Got the advanced reader copy, which I'm excited about, and the other advanced reader copy that I'll be getting to March will be John Gwynne's The Shadow of the Gods. I think out of every cool thing that I've got to do with BookTube, the collabs, everything, receiving one of my favorite authors' books as an advanced reader copy was just icing on the cake and really made me step back and say, wow, this has been worth it. But I already kind of knew that, but just really cool. It's something I never really planned on doing. I don't plan to do a ton of arcs. These are kind of 2 exceptions, I would say, because I just have so much I want to get through before I start just opening the floodgates to that. But I couldn't say no to either of them. I'm excited to read them. I'll be reading Stephen Kelleher's Ember first. I'm probably going to start that today as it's the last day of February. Probably get through that in the first week. And then I'm not going to jump right into Shadow of the Gods. My second book is actually going to be part of a read-along with Andy Smith, which you haven't checked out his channel. Phenomenal. As of right now, probably one of my favorite channels. And then one of my other favorite channels is Chris Bookish Cauldron. So Chris and Andy and I are going to be reading The War of the Flowers by Tad Williams. It didn't take too long to get me back in Tad Williams land, did it? It's not Ostenar, but it's still Tad. And it's one of his lesser-known novels. It's a standalone. And from what I gather, it's basically like I don't know if he's retired, but it's some sort of like rock star that is going out into the woods to be secluded, and it's like a family-owned cabin, and then he finds fairies, and I think he gets like teleported to a world, or there's some sort of like hidden world. I'm not really sure. The synopsis was interesting enough for me to sign up for the read-along with these two fine content creators, but I also just love Tad Williams, so I wasn't going to say no to an opportunity to discuss and read any more of Tad's work. So I'm pretty excited about that. That'll be the second book I read in March. And then the third will be The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. I think we know that I'm going to click with it. I think it's going to be interesting. This is the first entry into a whole new saga. It has nothing to do with the Banished Lands or anything I've covered here on the channel. It's all the Bloodsworn saga, which is Norse inspired. And it sounds like there's going to be dragons. And I'm pretty pumped up. Norse mythology is awesome. And I'd like to see more and more fantasy centered around it. I know there's a lot out there already, but to see John Gwynne do it and for him to take his spin on it, I'm pretty pumped up. And that review will probably be coming. I'll probably do that relatively soon, within like the next month and a month and a half before the release, because the book comes out in May. But I plan on doing a discussion maybe with Philip Chase or Petrick or somebody after the release, where we can actually get into the details, which we obviously can't get into before it releases. So I'm excited about that, and I think that'd be really cool for you all to see. So that leaves me at 3 books. That's always my goal. 3 books a month is my conservative goal. Feels like I can take my time, digest things, but as soon as I wrap up that 3rd book, wherever I am in the month, I will be jumping into the Live Ship Traders trilogy, because I got to get into more Robin Hobb. I absolutely love what she's doing with Realm of the Elderlings at this point. Farseer was a home run with me, and I'll be doing, I believe it's the Magic Ship, and the Mad Ship. Let me look. I'm sorry, it's The Ship of Magic and the Mad Ship by Robin Hobb. So those are the first 2. Sorry, I'm an idiot. And then if I can get to Ship of Destiny, I will. I don't see that happening. These books are a little bit longer, and I want to take my time and enjoy it and really get the full experience. And then, of course, just ongoing, I'm listening to The Fires of Heaven by Robert Jordan, Book 5 in the Wheel of Time. That's something I'm going to be listening to while I work out most days. It's going to be a slow grind. It's a long book. I'm not rushing to get through Wheel of Time at all. I'm, again, kind of experiencing with Heroes of the Horn right now. They're at the end of Shadow Rising, about to start The Fires of Heaven. So I'm kind of waiting for them to catch up a bit, but just knowing that that is still ongoing as usual. That'll probably be on every single TBR video for the next, for a few months at least. What did you read in the month of February? Let me know down in the comments. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe if you want. I feel like I've had some just tremendous conversations since this channel's grown. I think at the time of filming this, we're right around 1,400, so like 1,350. And it's really cool. The channel's growing, and I'm getting to talk to more people. I'm having more great conversations, and like overall very positive experience, and that excites me. So I want to know what you read, what you are reading, and stuff I can add to my TBR. And if you've read some of the books that I'm coming up, please don't spoil them. But what were your thoughts on those as well? I'd love to hear it. We got to clean out this TBR so I can get to Malazan this year. I don't want to be thinking about other series when I'm diving into something that dense. So we're gonna put in some work these next few months, and we're gonna clean out the TBR pretty heavily. One thing I know I'll be reading in the near future after Realm of the Elderlings, I'm definitely gonna get the Broken Earth trilogy out of there, Richard K. Morgan, Dune, Prince of Nothing trilogy, all that stuff that was on my best or things I really wanted to read in 2021. I made a video for a top 8. All of those books probably need to be read before I start Malazan, but we'll see. Who knows? I also gotta throw some Terry Pratchett in there too. Gosh, it's good to be a fantasy fan and sci-fi fan, right? We have so much to enjoy. But hey, thank you so much for spending time with me. Listen to me ramble about stuff I'm pumped up about, stuff that I read, that I'm excited about. Make sure to check out all the reviews for the stuff I mentioned. If they're not on the channel, they will be. The Expanse Book 1, Leviathan Wakes reviews coming, and then a full trilogy review for each book of the Farseer trilogy is coming. And then I'll probably have an Ember Blade by Stephen Kelleher review out next week, and then the week after that, who knows. But those will be coming down the pipe probably weekly or maybe twice a week, depending on how big the backlog gets. But I'd love to have you here. Hit like and subscribe. Make sure you turn on the bell notification if you want to catch all my latest stuff and all my reviews. And when I'm reading, I feel like I'm just blazing through stuff right now. I'm in the zone. You know what I mean? You ever just get in the zone and you just read? I feel like that's all I'm doing, and I'm happy about it. So, but until I see you next time, be good, be safe, and remember to always keep turning the page.